I'm live. Hello again. Welcome to Welcome Eclectic Minds of the World. Hopefully it'll let me go on longer. Um, um, so yeah, usually not up this late. It's 10:52 at night. And yeah, I'm making video. There we go. So you think of the background. There's a Christmas tree back there. Rock Hero Picture Show. Okay. So let's see if this is going to work, because otherwise I'm just going to have to stop it. But it's still filming. So I've got all these topics that I wanted to discuss. And then I'm just going to afterwards just do some free talking. So let's go on to the first thing about autism. This is what I found out a couple weeks ago that was kind of interesting. And I don't know if you can see this, but I'll just read it. So I'm not sure what's filming, if anything at all. So there's that. So what the article is from embraceautism.com. And it's titled "A Fear Response to Smelling Calm Chemicals." Okay, so studies have found that when people are afraid, they release chemicals that are picked up by others and act as a contagion, making others afraid. Right, sort of like with the yawning, right? Somebody yawns, somebody knows somebody else, they yawn, right? Contagion. Autistic people, however, have a different response. So smelling emotions. Same article. While most of us are aware that autistic people have a challenge with interpreting facial expressions, which we talk about later with eye contact and mind blindness, it's very interesting. I thought it was connected. What fascinated me, and this was in the article, was that we have the same challenge with the odors that we are unaware of smelling, but are which nonetheless a part of the nonverbal communication that perplexes us. Humans emit odors that allow them to determine smells that announce such emotions as happiness, fear, or aggression. And this in turn affects our own moods and behavior. For example, a non-autistic person unconsciously smells fear will have an increase in their own heart rate. Smelling fear. In 2017, researchers tested a group of autistics and non-autistics to see if both groups of participants could detect odors, which they could. Then both groups were exposed to sweat from people who were skydiving, experiencing fear, as well as sweat from the same people who were exercising without experiencing fear. When the group of non-autistic participants smelled the fear-induced sweat, they reacted by producing a fear-like reaction in their own body, while the odor of the calm sweat did not raise their level of anxiety. But the autistic people reacted in exactly the opposite way. When smelling fear, they became calmer, and when smelling calm sweat, it raised their levels of anxiety. Okay, so fear and calm chemicals. An additional experiment was conducted where a calming chemical in sweat called hexadecicanol was released into a room while a loud and unexpected sound occurred. The people with autism were calmed and showed less blinking. Blinking is an automatic fear response when hexadecanol was released, while people with autism became more afraid, as indicated by their increase in blink response. So we'll go back to here. So it says I'm still recording, so I have no idea when I was there whether or not you were still seeing me as I was reading it. But yeah, So I'm going to try talking to the camera. So when I read that, I was sort of like, interesting. So when I was going throughout school and we were in a class and everybody was probably when everybody was like chaotic and doing things, that was probably when I was at my, calmest, right? And then when everything was calm, then I would get like fidgety because I would be like anxious, right? And grade 7, in grade 7, at the end of the year, I was given an award certificate for best math student. But the other one that I was given was most unusual seating positions. So I was always fidgeting. I was always like sitting on one leg, sort of thing, or sitting on both legs. Actually, I've got an album that's got all my pictures from grade 2 to 7. It doesn't have grade 1 for some reason. Maybe it doesn't have grade 4. Maybe it just has the pretty ones. I don't know. I'm going to check the different facial features and just see if I can notice anything different over the years. So yeah, that was and then of course there is the so the I guess I forgot to introduce myself the first time. Interesting. The first time I started this video, it sort of like crashed on me. So, so nobody's on, no thumbs up, but yeah, maybe this will video get exposure later on. But I'm doing it live, so it's not going to show up as a video. It's going to show up in the live section. So, but I wanted to be live. Hey, coffee, cool. So, it's okay. Okay. Peer response. Here we go. So we're gonna go with next one is synaptic growth. Again, you don't see the screen; you just see me. So hi. I think I'll have to look at the video afterwards. I don't know how long we're gonna talk, but so yeah, with the synaptic growth is the pruning is that during infancy there is a burst of synapse formation, particularly in the cortex. Starting from birth until adolescence, there is a synaptic pruning process preceded by synaptic overgrowth, and thus the neurological network is optimized by removing redundant connections. I've got some paper, some interesting things about the brain as well regarding connections and stuff like that I'm probably going to possibly talk about later on. Who knows? In the after part. Again, I meant to introduce myself. We'll get through this and then I'll do the introduction. So this is the learning process. We're going to relieve the synaptic root and effectively makes the brain more efficient. Adults have been found to have approximately 41% fewer neurons than newborns. Autism, though, it drops only to about 16% in autistic brains. And then it talks about primary and secondary psychopathy and synesthesia and induced synesthesia, which I might go about it at a later time or something like that, but it's not something that, and then there's savant abilities that I do sort of want to talk about. But that's in a different article. So let's go back to the live streaming. So hi again. DJ Deniverse. Again, Dennis Joseph. That's where the DJ comes from. Again, eventually, I've hijacked this channel. Well, It's my channel, so I haven't really hijacked my channel. I just have different start for it. I mean, this channel was made back in August 8th or 18th, I think. Eclectic music for the eclectic mind. It's again, with the previous video, I want music. It's going to be a big part of has been a big part of my life and continues to be, and I'll talk about it in this video later on, sort of thing. So, am I facing the camera? I don't know. Like I'm the camera is to the left, so or the video screen. So that's why it's kind of funny. Okay, so more coffee. 11:03. Gonna see what the time is when it's like 23:23. It'll be another 23, so 32. Okay, so the first part is gonna be sort of like the theory, the technical stuff, and then I guess afterwards I'm gonna maybe just talk and relay some of my life experiences and and sort of like how it relates to me and what's been going on in my life recently. So let's see what's next on the agenda. Oh, right, I was going to talk about masking camouflaging. Do we? You know what? I don't even think I have that anymore. Interesting. Okay. But essentially, like masking, camouflaging, simulation is what we do to. Yeah, so it's interesting that I got rid of the. Okay. We want to go autism and savant syndrome then. Okay. Okay. It was meant to be more organized, and I don't know what happened to the. Okay. You know what? We're gonna go to the bright side of life. That's okay. So the bright side of being autistic. This is an article on Embrace Autism, which is an awesome website, and lots of where I got the beginning parts of regarding the fearing the fear chemical and stuff like that. So this is just from one. He's got 21 stuff on it. I can probably go through it quite quickly. So, but this is just an example of somebody who has a neurodiverse mind, an autistic mind. Okay. So, who's the article by? Written by Martin Silvertant. Categories autistic. Okay, so the bright side about being autistic. Published September 17th, 2021. Last updated December 13th, 2021. Okay. A little while ago, Greg Burns and Fred Day both wrote articles describing in 20-something points what it's like to be autistic. Okay. So this is just this. So this is from this guy. So last 2 points explain why that is. I came to adopt a more positive view of myself and of my experience with being autistic. In this post, I want to share my own list of the more positive or wondrous aspects of what it's like to be autistic. How much of this non-existent list resonates with you? So I'm reading this essentially for the first time. Go back to the video, so because I don't know what you're seeing out of that. Probably just me like looking at the computer screen, so I apologize. But that's what I'm doing. I'm reading. I'm going to reflect for a bit. So this is an ongoing discovery exploration, took a Jungian like archetype, and like sort of like I'm an explorer. I'm a seeker, of information. I'm an explorer of information. I love new things, right? I get bored quite easily. What I'm so I'm some. I get bored easily, but I also can be like super focused, right? So 15 minutes in so far, 11:07. All going well. So I have new hope in myself, new hope in humanity. I guess like I go. The masking has been going on. Probably started well. I mean, with all of us in some way, we not mask, but um we go with the flow. Okay, how do I explain this? Okay, um, the social aspect of it, we have difficulties in social interactions. We in elementary school playing on the playgrounds, we wanted to play with the other kids, but we just did not know how to. And I guess the eye contact. You know what? There's another eye contact and mind blindness. So let's go to that, shall we? Okay, because or do we want to go back to the bright side of being on? So this is another thing regarding autism as well. So let's go back to the autistics and eye contact because it's very interesting. Again, the embrace autism. That's where I found most of these articles because it seems to be the most knowledgeable. So we're gonna go to autistics and eye contact. Okay, so and this again, embrace autism. Um, Published April 13th, 2023. Last update November 11th, 2024. So that's recent. And this article is called Autistics and Eye Contact. It's asynchronosis. Asynchronosis. Okay. So eye contact and neurotypical societal norms. Many non-autistics are obsessed with eye contact. In fact, some even consider it to be the most important aspect of social communication. Based on research and anecdotes, here are some reasons why reciprocal eye contact is meaningful to autistics. And of course, autistics just means not autistic, as opposed to neurodivergent and neurotypical. Autism is part of the is part of the neurodiversity, including dyslexia, aka Einstein, ADHD, schizophrenia. Bipolar is sort of like a disorder that I should talk about, but it's going to be more so in the free time, in the open discussion later. As a result of me unmasking, as a result of me awakening, letting my autistic traits. Yeah. Okay, so go back to eye contact. So, some reasons why reciprocal eye contact is meaningful to autistics. It shows the other person you're interested, actively listening, and paying attention to them. So that would be probably a good example of me, like simulating, is doing the active listening and then possibly doing eye contact. You can foster trust and build social connection with the other person, a mechanism that begins in infancy. Interesting. It provides useful information about the other person's feelings and thoughts. There's another thing about theory of mind coming out too. It is a way to share strong feelings like love and affection with another person. Okay, so then we come to why is eye contact different for autistics? For many autistics, reciprocal eye contact is the opposite of natural or effortless, right? Again, this whole thing about um, when it's calm, we're anxious, it makes us like, tense, fearful, right? And calmness, right? It doesn't make sense. So in fact, when we engage with it, it is a very deliberate act and can often cause us distress, right? This is because the majority of autistics experience eye contact, and again, this I'm reading this is the first time, so this is interesting, as a form of hyperarousal. So it goes back to the again to the overstimulation, the redundant, and I read that again, and okay, there's so much more to this video. I'm getting a little bit better with the video. Hopefully the sound quality is okay. Okay, so with hyperarousal, we often describe it as experiencing adverse reaction. We feel fear, anxiety, pain, threat, etc. With eye contact, where feeling invading, it can feel violating, overly intimate, etc. Right? Causing sensory overload. It's too intense, overwhelming. There's too much visual information, etc. Socially confusing. It feels awkward, unnatural, embarrassing, difficult to interpret in the other person. Again, so we just mentioned that eye contact is important for human contact and interaction, whereas people with autism, it's the opposite, right? Gaze aversion. Um, Theory based on adverse experience associated with eye contact, because we deliberately avoid eye contact experience. Okay. Okay, and then we got some mind blindness, of course, with note number 23. Um, so, so mind blindness again, mind blinded. We talked about aphantasia, severe deficiency in autobiographical memory. If we don't have eye contact, we're not looking at faces. I'm gonna go back here and show live streaming so I can, because hopefully when I'm not when I'm reading at stuff that you're seeing just the side of my head or something like that. But I'm talking. You're just seeing this background. I'm looking at at a camera on a wall, sort of thing. So what was I gonna say? Sound. We were gonna eye contact. Okay. So. Oh no! I lost my train of thought. Which can go to the theory of mind. Let's see if I can get my thought back into her. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about aphantasia and severe deficiency. So we have no. So the experience. When I worked at the Chevron gas station, did graveyard shifts, and I was robbed, and about 20 minutes later they brought somebody who they thought might. And the thing is, I don't remember their face. I don't remember. I never even looked at their face, sort of thing. And like a few months later, right? So it goes to the to the mind blindness. But things when I was younger, I had dreams. I had vivid dreams. I watched a video a couple months ago, and when I was focusing on the video and powerful suggestion, I don't know, but when they said like now you can see a green, or now picture a green triangle, and I picture the green triangle, or maybe it was a blue triangle. I can't remember. See, that's the thing is have a hard time with details, I guess. Um, the part you asked, and I remember everything. So okay, so that's what we're gonna go back. So I did have something about the theory of mind, but it's gone now. But essentially, what the theory of mind and sort of like to do with the wrong planet is another, like I think it's called wrongplanet.org or something like that, and they have a forum, right? And then one of the sections of the forum was how to respond to certain things, and like an example is sort of like, these jeans make me look fat, sort of thing. My ass, and sort of like the response that you always say without even thinking, without always saying no, of course not. You look beautiful. You're right. Um, so the theory of mind is that, and again, it's to do with truth and so much more. There's also something called. Do you see that? I don't know if she's 26 minutes and 21 seconds, 11:18. We're almost to 23. But theory of mind is that, and apparently autistics lack theory of mind. And this is this is weird, and this is probably why I didn't, because it seems to be very negative, and it's something that's obviously needs more looking into. But the basic gist of it is that theory of mind from early on and stuff like that, everybody, it just seems like everybody just goes along with everything. Sort of like sort of like the white lies or something like that, or it's okay. Sort of like how politicians don't really seem to make sense, right? You listen to them talk in Congress and stuff like that, and they don't make sense. Again, gonna have to look more into that, but it's a very it's something to do with that we always need to be truthful. We want to know what's true. I think that's why we're gullible, because we don't have any. So that's why I tend to believe, like I maybe gravitate, or when I see something that is like a conspiracy, something like that is not true, I think it's true. Like I don't, right? So I'm jumping all over the place. That's okay. Am I done with the autism and the eye contact, mind blindness, audio, visual integration? Right, but that's going to go to. Okay, let's go back to. We're going to go back to the bright side of being autistic, and then I'm going to finish off with the sound advantage in autism, because that is. And I had strengths as well, but and that is one of the strengths is the auditory. So let's just quickly go to the. So let's go. I'm going to say hi again. 30 minutes. I'm going to try to keep this video to under 2 hours. There we go. That's my goal tonight, under 2 hours. So, yeah. Are we having fun yet? I don't know. Yeah, cool. Midnight. Not going to work tomorrow. Marty sent an email earlier this evening, this late afternoon, give her a heads up, and I pretty much know I wasn't going to work. So there we go. So let's see, where are we going to go from here? So yeah, we're going to go to the to the bright side of being autistic. Okay. So there's 21 things. Like it's very short, so I'll try to go quickly through it. So walking library. Your mind is like a walking. Hang on, I'm gonna take a drink of water first, and maybe a little more water. Coffee. Mm. So your mind is like a walking library. It's full of fascinating information about obscure things. Some would regard it as a gold mine of information. The only problem is that very few people have the key to this library, so almost no one knows its splendor. I can relate with that. Vast library. The library is vast, but there is no map. And if you enter this library, you only occasionally encounter a librarian or guide that can point you in approximately the right direction. So retrieving information from this library can take a long time, but if you're patient, you will encounter many other gems along the way. I would argue it's worth the wait. Yeah. So here's the thing. Part of this exploration is to explore the mind, the inner mind, and that's like the yeah. How do you explore the inner mind when you can't visualize, when you can't? So let's just proceed with the 21 characteristics of this person that wrote the alien world. You're on an alien world called, and this is from him, right? TP-Cal, or Earth, as some of the natives call it, right? You happen to speak their language, but nevertheless, you and the inhabitants of this world seem to interpret the words differently. But that's okay. It sometimes takes a few more words to explain, clarify our differences in interpretations, but we learn something from each other each time we do. Yeah. Acting alien. So this is probably something I did a lot when I was younger, and then learned to assimilate, right? Because there's no such thing as autism back in the 70s. So you were just considered a freak. Even though we had some intelligence, but deficient in other aspects, and can't socialize well. So acting alien, you try to act just like those aliens, but it was too exhausting because you simply weren't made for TP-Cal behavior. So now you try to behave like yourself as much as you can so that TP-Cals will like you, or indeed dislike you for who you are. But it's a relief not having to behave a certain way to be liked, isn't it? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So alien mind is the next one. A lot of aliens. Holy moly. Your mind is an alien world unto itself, at least from the perspectives of others. It makes you hard for others to understand. Maybe I'll just skim through here. Aliens, humor. You have a good sense of humor. You can find humor in things that others would. This means that you can't necessarily share everything you find humorous to others, which is unfortunate, but you also means experience choices. I find humor, that's in lots of things. Alien empathy. Your empathy is quite a mystery due to being high in alexithymia and don't seem to get mostly affected by the hardships of people you don't know. Yet you have an immense capacity for empathy and compassion for those around you. It can be confusing, but it's yes, this is a huge thing, right? Like I'm often not accused, but the flat effect. Let's go back to the let's see. Live streaming. Did I miss 11:20? I missed the 23:23. Oh wow. But we're at 35 minutes into the video and it's still going strong. I'm gonna make it. Well, am I gonna make it to midnight? We'll see. So where was I? I was getting distracted. Alien humor, was it? Yeah, I'm not sure how much further we're gonna go. Oh, empathy, right. So empathy, we don't show anything, we don't care, but the thing is, we do. We care so much. watching the news, like being a kid sort of thing, and you hear about like what's going on, the wars, and and you ask like why is it like this? And you don't get an answer, right? It just is. We are like when I watch movies, like I will cry at the end of the movie, even if I've seen it 100 times. Like I guess an example would be like Scrooge sort of thing. At the very end, God bless us everyone, and then they sing that song. I saw the movie the first time in North Hills Theater. What do I remember of it? Right, because I can't remember it in the first person. Like like it was in December sometime, so maybe it's cold outside, but I don't know. I'm just guessing, right? Like it was North Hills Theater, and the theater's not there anymore. Who did I go with it? I don't know, a bunch of people. It was in '88, so I think I was still in Kamloops at the time. So, anyways, so let's just go back and see if there's anything more on the bright side of being autistic. Non-judgment. Yeah. Eye for detail. Pattern finding. Love looking for patterns, looking for. For me, let's go back. For me, it's like patterns with numbers. Just I don't know. Like I guess like it was an interesting one. Was when I was married in 1999. I was 33 years old, married in 66. And then I can't remember, but like, and again, like my mind is always going. It's always thinking, sort of thing. More coffee. So let's try to finish off with the theory part of it. I've only got a couple more, and then we're going to go over these books I've written notes from other videos quickly, and then we're going to talk maybe a little bit. Who knows, right? So bright side of pattern finding, lateral thinking, curiosity. Yeah, word. You have an immensely curious mind with a thirst for knowledge, insight, and meaning that cannot be satisfied, but there is a pleasure to be found in this intellectual thirst. Yeah. Intellectual journey, meaning, intrigue, autodidacticism. You are to autodidact because you become so engrossed in your objects of study. Sort of like the intensity, what I was talking about. Focus. If we find something interesting, we can focus. Mastering subjects. Once you've achieved mastery of a particular subject or skill, you may become bored of it. Right? But since the mastery of one subject opens up new avenues to other subjects, boredom never truly sets in as you move from one subject to the next, expanding your knowledge and understanding along the way. So this is really key. And that's what's interesting about the one plug Khan Academy KHN website or is that there's it's a progressive type learning because we grasp the concepts really quickly. Like you only have to tell us once, and right, we're very logical. I don't know, like math makes sense, right? 1 + 1 is 2. It's always going to be 2. So let's go back because I really want to get to the sound advantage and then talk about the stories and again try to keep it to under 2 hours. And I'm at 40 minutes, right? This is like a like a record for me, sort of thing. I don't know record, but nobody's watching. No thumbs up. We'll see what happens tomorrow. What's down here? Squirrel. um, right. I think it's coming with the sound advantage or something. There was something that. Okay. Anyways, go back. Niche interest again. Yes. Right. So you can see how like I'm reading all this right. For inexplicable reasons to me, you seem to gravitate naturally towards interests that are less commonly pursued. So you often find yourself engrossed in niche interests in underdeveloped fields where there's plenty of opportunities for individualism and innovation, but where you can also quickly find a sense of connection. There's that word connection again. With the other few mavericks that find intrigue and passion for such curious disciplines as, say, type design and font engineering. Right? I've used that word before, niche. Let's go back here. So niche, yeah. Wanting, not wanting, right? So how do I was earlier? I was going through like how would I explain with left-handed people? Like here's like the not really depressing part, but sort of like it is what it is. But left-handed people, because the world is meant for right-handed people, live on average about like 10 years less or something like that. In same way as like people, so with all these like different uniqueness, but like you're being different than everybody, right? Right? You decrease the amount of. So really, I should have been dead like probably like 20 or 30 years ago, right? Because okay, well, first of all, I'm left-handed, only 10% of the world. I could probably be considered gifted, and I haven't really talked about gifted, because it's very. See, I didn't want to get to this. I'm not going to get to it. I'm just relaying information that I've received over the last little while, and trying to process it the best that I can. And I guess relay information to the world, to whoever's listening. Well, the other one that didn't work, so I'm going to probably change this one to that title as well. And again, I gotta hurry up with this. But I don't have to hurry up with it, because I'm having fun, right? So, I'm awake. I'm not tired. I'm not going. And I use my hands a lot. Well, you can't see my. I don't know why I've got the camera. I think it's because I was going to show the camera to the screen so that's why the camera. If the camera would have been on the proper on the computer, you would see my face more. I mean, I'm purposely hiding my face. Maybe I don't want to see myself talking. So okay, so let's finish with this first one, and then we can go to like the second to last one. Okay, so the bright side of life. This one niche interest. Nocturnal beings. Is this in alphabetical order? No, it is. Okay. You are able to stay up long after Sesame Street has ended. Okay. In fact, I'm not sure. And then it's got a Wikipedia for Sesame Street. In fact, it seems as if your biological clock is based on 30-hour days rather than 24 hours. This is interesting. Again, like I haven't read this before, but yeah, like I mean, yeah, like when I was younger in my 20s, I would I worked this. My favorite shift was at 2 to 11. Then I would stay up till like 4 o'clock in the morning, sleep till noon, and go to work to 2. Right? And even like when I, yeah. So, anyways, that's interesting. This is called. Oh, interesting. This is called circadian sleep desynchronization. Wow. I don't know. Should I click on this? What does it say? Da da da. So went to another circadian rhythm sleep disorders. And circadian rhythm disorders, I hate that word disorders. Endogenous sleep wake rhythms, body clock, and the external light darkness cycle becomes misaligned, desynchronized. The cause may be internal or external circadian rhythm sleep. And could occur in patients with Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease, and a patient who had turns. Okay, well, interesting. Something to consider, maybe or not. Who knows? Okay. Strong work ethic. Yeah. Yeah, if it's something I like, and if a hyper focus, whoop, there we go. Hyper focus, intensity. Excuse me, sorry. You're able to hyper focus on a particular task or project you are interested in. This state of being in the zone improves performance and allows you to stay with the task for extended periods of time, making it possible to explore the subject at hand in a level of depth other people may find difficult to achieve. And although you can also lose a lot of time as you hyperfocus, regulation on things other than what you're supposed to do, see the difference between hyperfocus and flow. Should I see the difference between hyperfocus and flow? Right? Because I was like, there's a link I can click on. I gotta click on it, right? Like I hate those articles where like every fifth word is a hyperlink because they're like literally like if you clicked on every hyperlink and stuff like that, it takes you to like another page and stuff like that. You can literally get lost in an article for hours. So hyper focus can thus be an awesome ability. So let's see the difference between hyper focus and flow, because flow is an interesting one as well. Another resources article. Mindful self focus and distraction. Real stuff. Blah blah blah. Hyper focus. Hyper focus and flow. Flow means that you focus on the task at hand productively. It's a desirable state of mind where getting work done feels like a breeze. Okay. The term was coined in 1975 by a Hungarian American psychologist. That name will come up again later. Okay, but we're not going to go later. Hyperfocus generally occurs when a person engages in an activity that is particularly fun and very interesting. However, it doesn't necessarily have the same benefits as flow, and can actually get in the way of productivity. Although most neurotypical people would likely report experiencing a hyperfocus like state at some point in their life, it is most often mentioned in the context of autism, schizophrenia, and ADHD conditions that have consequences on attentional abilities. Okay, yeah. So there's that. So we're gonna go back. Almost done here. One strong work, hyper focus, honesty. Right, so that goes back to the theory of mind. You tend to speak the truth where others lie. You would think that makes people like you more, but there are many truths don't like to hear when they think they do. And of course, they often love to hear half truths or blah blah blah. Okay, so now, so we're 49 minutes into this video. Yeah. So the last topic is the sound advantage in autism. So let's go there, shall we? Superpower, not disability. Right. Okay. It's interesting that I have that. But so where's the beginning of the topic? Because I think this was the one from May 23rd. No, there was one from May 23rd. Why did not? Which one's May? There was one that was from May 23rd. Maybe I changed my mind on that one. Oh wow, no big deal. Or was that the bright side? The bright side to life. Anyways, there was one that was on May 23rd. Oh well, no big deal. Autism is savant intro. Dun, 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 dun. So we're 18 minutes, so it's 23:42, 23:42. So that's 23:23, but I got 23:42. Close to the, so 18 minutes away from the 18th of the month, which is also the 48th day or the 40% of my winter. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So Sound Advantage in Autism, published January 3rd, 2021, last updated February 12th, 2021. Auditory differences. Okay. Zebra fresh, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I guess this is why I had it to here. But it's a superpower, not disability. Research has found what I think many of us on the spectrum already know. Our brain transmits more auditory information. It transmits as well as input. Interesting. More of everything. That is because we filter sounds differently compared to non-autistics. We have more local hyperconnectivity. Society struggles to understand that normal central city. There's that city word again, right? In my description, right? What Homo sapiens. Well, the title is Homo sapiens is thinking man, right? Because thinking man, right? That's anyways. That's what we are. We are thinking. So society struggles to understand the normal centricity. So I did the intensity and the. There we go. AIN. It's not aim, but ain. No, okay. So we need another word with an M. So, but like the authenticity and intensity is the focus, right? Super focus intensity. So no is not the optimal standard of a human being. In a way, it is funny. No one that I know wants to be average, and research backs this up. Illusory superiority is a cognitive bias where a person overestimates their qualities as superior. Everyone thinks they're above 50%, yet when it comes to research, the average because something is desirable. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's see what's next. Our hearing is above average, and despite researchers calling it a disability, we now know a link between musical genius or exceptional music talent is superior hearing. Our super hearing gives us a marked advantage. Some of our advantages include enhanced pitch discrimination, the ability to distinguish between different pitches and tones, and an increased auditory perceptual capacity, the ability to perceive sounds. At the extreme, this advantage produces autistic savants who can write and play music, like grandmasters with incredible talent and flourish. But there is a price for every gift, and for us, we have a hard time ignoring sounds we can experience. Normal, neutral sounds harsh. In one study, participants would listen to animal sounds and decide if they heard a dog barking or a lion roaring. This experiment, where people with better auditory perception, such as autistics, will have the advantage. As suspected, autistics ended up scoring much higher than controls. In second task, and see, this is interesting as well because of that video, I'll go back. Participants listened to a recording of people at a party. In the middle of the recording, a man repeated, "I'm a gorilla, I'm a gorilla." 47% of autistics were affected by this, compared to only 12% of non-autistics. Each of us is unique, and it is these unique features that allow our entire race to exist and evolve. See, here we go, entire race to exist. I think of my super hearing as a gift for the majority of the time. The brain simply cannot wire a person to hear more without causing them to hear more in all situations. Sometimes that can make typical sounds overwhelming. So again, going back to the overstimulation, they talk about a lot about in a large group of people, and you can listen to distinct conversations. I can do that. That's right. I I like to be aware. Like when I'm watching movies that I've seen a lot, sort of thing. I'll just or movies that I'm bored with or anything like try to look at the scenery and stuff like. Oh yeah, and that's I guess like why I always see the number 23 everywhere. I don't know. Um. So hitting the 1 hour mark. So let's see what next. Okay. Some notes that I guess I've written down. Weeks. Well, probably like towards the end of October, early November, sort of thing. As I was getting ready for winter. Well, I guess it was late October, early November. I went to the dark side. Well, not really to the dark side, but just yeah, went and saw some videos and stuff like that. That less than desirable, I guess. I don't know. But then after that, later on, so like early to mid November, and that's when I started getting into the brain videos. And the first one actually had to do with Alzheimer's resistant brain. So 5. So you mean and then the number that count. So 5 ways to build an Alzheimer's resistant brain, right? So okay, so I'm just gonna skip on. Sleep. You need sleep, right? I've been sleeping a lot recently. I a lot of it is to do with that I have in my mindset. Like if I've got to get up early, that if I'm not asleep or in bed or with the mindset around 9:30 sort of thing, that I'll have difficulty getting sleep. So having said that, so sometimes if I fall asleep around 8:30, 9 o'clock, I will be awake at like 3 o'clock in the morning, but I don't fret about it. I use that opportunity to think. I think a lot. Like constructive thinking, pattern thinking, just let my mind wander, sort of thing. So sleep. So it says while you sleep, and this is what it goes back to. This, there are cells in your brain. Remember what a cell is? Right? You have one cell, and it grows larger. It splits into 2 cells. But you have cells in your brain that's called glial cells. And I'm reading this is from a YouTube channel called Big Think. Very, I guess some. I can't remember what her name was. There's another video that I quote from. What's that? No, don't know. So yeah, these are the janitors of the, what is it called, the sewage and sanitation department, clearing away all the metabolic debris that accumulate while the brain was awake during the day. So what does it say? The debris that accumulated in the brain while being in the business of being awake. And one of the things that it critically clears away is amyloid beta. Okay, so yeah, we gotta get back to the beginning and what is Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's starts with the protein amyloid beta. Sticky protein will stick to itself to form amyloid plaques. And these amyloid plaques will build up over a period of, I think, about 20 years or something like that. So we can start really early, like example of early onset dementia would be is like age 50 or in your 50s, like could be like the earliest. Or so it builds to of no return, like what no return, but it's finally there could be a return actually, which I'll get later on in this article. It says, but it leads to neurofibrillary tangles, neuroinflammation, cell death, memory loss, wandering, anger, impulsive behavior. Begins in the hippocampus, which is responsible for creating new memories. Again, doing memories, and so you can see why I guess the brain is really fascinating me, especially with Alzheimer's. My dad passed away a few years ago, going on almost 4 years now, from what's called vascular dementia. Alzheimer is a form of dementia. They're all at the very end. Is the brain essentially shutting down. So yeah. So it says the amyloid beta is over like 15 or 20 years of accumulation, right? So get sleep. Enough anyways, right? Right now I need lots of sleep. I'm going through lots of changes and stuff like that. I remember when I had my first manic episode a few years ago, 21. Yeah, like that. I didn't need much sleep, and then I would sleep for a couple hours, and I'd be like I was running on so much adrenaline. I mean, the manic episode lasted. It was probably my first real manic episode in like about 3 months, and so so that goes back. Brings me back to the bipolar disorder. So I hope the volume's okay on here. I'm trying to talk quietly. I'm trying to talk slowly. So bipolar disorder type 1 is to do with manic and mania and hypomania, but not quite. Bipolar type 2 is different. It's the ups and downs are longer, but not. I can't remember. I can look into it, but essentially, as when I got my first manic episode, I became essentially bipolar, and I will have bipolar probably for the rest of my life, and I got to learn how to adjust to the manic and the depressive, and lead more of a stable life. Okay, so 2 is eat a healthy diet, Mediterranean or mind diet. Can reduce risk of Alzheimer anywhere from a third to half. Then 3 is also exercise. It works to reduce your risk of Alzheimer's. Brisk walk, 20 to 30 minutes, 4 times per week, reduces again a third to half, similar to diet, right? Cool. Again, stimulant, right? And 4, very important. It seems as we're getting along, it becomes more and more important. Reduce chronic stress. And here it says, and this is her relating, it says, chronic stress is really bad for our memory, getting back to the memory, both today and creating new memories, and it will increase your risk of developing Alzheimer's in the future. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, and then chronic stress, your cortisol levels remain elevated. You're in a constant state of fight or flight. Cortisol levels. Came across that. Something else as well. See, they're all sort of like tied together. This is really bad for your hippocampus. The hippocampus is what Alzheimer's attack first. It's actually shrink the size of your hippocampus by inhibiting neurogenesis, and neurogenesis is creation of new cells. And when we come to that, it will inhibit the birth of new neurons. So now you have a smaller structure that essentially for the formation of new information. So chronic stress. Okay. Okay. So the fifth one, and probably the most important, but it's good. I have to. Okay, meditation, yoga, So they're talking about to reduce chronic stress. You do yoga, mindfulness, right? Exercise, and being with best people. You need to work on that one. Okay. So number 5. So and here's how it starts with number 5. It said, let's say you haven't done any of the things that I've just mentioned. So the other 4, you only get like a couple hours of sleep, and So yeah, here's like you're chronically sleep deprived, watching Netflix until 3 p.m., raising kids for Texas, and more, blah blah blah. Let's say that the amyloid plaque levels have reached the tipping point, and it's triggered the cascade that causes Alzheimer's, right? And this is, I think when I read this is like, yeah, wow, okay. And so by this time I was already well into, because Khan Academy, I've done it now for 12 weeks. So 12 weeks is 3 months. So we're in December. So I started sometime in September. Right? And the thing is, it just wasn't Khan Academy. Years back, I got myself like I mentioned as well, Child Academy. And I still have it. Got the courses. And we'll probably go back to there sometime because they're just different. But Khan Academy, for some reason, it's just general knowledge, right? Like world history, high school, like biology, space, right? The space course was very fascinating. I'm doing music, right? There's just so much that it has, so much diversity. Wow. Okay. So if you've lived a life where you're cognitive thinking, right? Thinking man, Homo sapien. Okay. You're regularly learning new things. So what's with me, like learning new things, creating. Okay. You are building what we call a cognitive reserve. This is like mind blowing stuff, and this was before I even found out what everything else that we're gonna do. Okay. So every time you are learning something new, you're building new synapses. You're building new neural connections. And then it says, so what does this have to do with Alzheimer's? Okay, fine. So if I have some Alzheimer's disease pathology present in my brain, amyloid plaques are gunking up the connections between certain number of neurons, blocking some synapses. Okay. But what if I built a lot of, and then this I was just reading earlier tonight, and sort of like, whoa, built a lot of redundant connections, right? What was I reading about with what the what makes autistic and allistic? Okay. Again, we're all Homo sapiens. I believe that we are all equal. We all have this. Well, we are. We all. Well. Okay, let's go forward a bit. If I'm in the process of awakening, which I sort of believe that I am. Like I've been sort of reading some videos, and I sort of what I'm experiencing seems to be that of a gradual awakening. maybe a few years ago when I had that manic episode, it was more of a sort of like a glimpse. Sort of like, here you go. But focus intensity is right, really hypomania, I guess, or mania, or like feeling invincible, feeling like I can do things that if I started really young and worked at a lot. Losing my track of thought a lot. Had a really hard time of expressing myself at times. So yeah, so redundant connections. I'm almost done with the papers, and then I'm going to just talk for a bit, and then we'll, yeah, hour 11. Hey, I made it till midnight, 12:03. Cool. Okay. So it says I've got an abundance and a redundancy in connections. Right. I can dance around. Okay. I can dance around these roadblocks. This is what they're saying about learning new things and stuff like that. It says I can take detours and still get to the memory that I'm trying to get at. So learning new things gives us a way to build an Alzheimer's resistant brain. And that was the very end. So like learning, right? Okay, so that's that. I got one more book. I've got a couple. Yeah. Okay. So it's leading right up to there was a thing about music, which is when I listen to music. Actually, it was interesting this morning when I was listening to music, and I was like really focusing on the music and stuff like that. I was straight. I was almost as though I was giving myself a buzz. I was out. I was sort of like elevating myself and my mood, and that's a lot that I'm working and fighting with right now. Is that if I elevate myself, if I get high and go into that manic state sort of thing, depending on how long that manic state lasts, there can be a corresponding down or depressed state. Yeah. Okay. So we just talked about the 5 ways to build Alzheimer's resistant mind. Now there's 9 tactics to build a strong mind. And a lot of these are the same thing, but I will run through them quickly, sort of thing, and just see how it relates to there was another article or video that I watched that was regarding the brain as you age, and the middle age and the later age, and the later life is not doesn't have a happy ending. Sorry. But the middle age, right? And that's where I'm at right now, and obviously I'd like to try to stay in this age as long as possible. So number 1 is like pay attention. So focus, pay attention, right? If I'm it says, example, if I put my glasses down and don't give it a moment's attention to where I put them, I can remember where things are because I never formed that memory to begin with. I'm always it's almost as though I play games with myself every once in a while. Like I'll put my wallet or my glasses or my keys or something like that sometimes in the weirdest of spots, right? And I can't find them, right? So now it's sort of like my wallet and keys, particular, like they go in my top dresser drawer, in my sock drawer. But again, if I pay attention, if I'm focusing on something, especially with reading, you just you definitely have to focus your attention, and I find if you don't understand something, like especially words and stuff like that, like find out what the word means. So 2, combat express. Well, we already talked about the combat stress. Okay, so we won't go into that. 3, get enough sleep. We talked about that as well, right? The sleep is very important. Drink coffee. This is awesome, right? Drink caffeine, right? I had like 7 or 8 cups of coffee today. Woohoo! Love caffeine. And so yeah, drink caffeine. Caffeine is good for memory because caffeine increases your attention. Anything that is an attention booster is going to be a memory booster. So attention, memory. Okay. Good for memory, but make sure that it's not compromising your sleep, which helps the point. So a lot of the that's a lot of things with autism as well. So like we have sensitivities, but yet like I love loud music, right? But I can't go into a mall. I can't go grocery shopping. Okay. 5 is create associations. Our brains are not designed to remember people's names. These are abstract concepts. They live in neurological cul-de-sacs. So can we supply more association to the person's name to the baker or whatever? I think if I'm maybe it's one of those neurotypical things that neurodiverse people can't do. Anyway, excuse me, pardon me, but you have any great proof on repetition. Love this one. I think that's how I learned repetition. Songs that have like the same beat over it or same lyrics, right? I love it. So it says, the more we repeat, the more we practice, the more we rehearse that memory. We are strengthening those neural connections, making that neural circuit stronger and more likely to be fully retrieved. One of the ways we can repeat memory by writing it down. I've experienced them. So I've been doing more writing, creativity. So what was did I say number 6? It was repetition. See, we're almost at the 9. I'm just going through this quickly. Write it down. I don't like to write things down. I like to try to memorize things, but it says so many people come up to me so worried, saying, if I don't write it, don't write that what I need to do later down, I'm going to forget to do it. That's got to mean I'm getting Alzheimer's. And I tell all of them, and this is that same person that did the other video. Nope, it's your perspective, memory. It's terrible. It's not cheating you to write it down. It's actually good practice. Okay, so all right, so I write things down. I'm almost at the point where I'm going to read something that, 8 is test yourself. Self-testing. We're trying to, and that's like the learning part, right? Yourself, you're being given practices and you're being tested on. So if I'm trying to consolidate something into memory and I'm only putting the information and I am traveling one day away on the neurons if I'm trying to recall information, right? And then number 9 is just Google it. Oh my God, the world we live in, just Google it. But it will not make your memory weaker in any way. It frees you up from, we can Google anything that we can't remember in a moment. I use IMDb all the time for movies. That's my Google for movies, right? Your memory is amazing. It is limitless in what its capacity of memory. So I think as my mind's expanding, I don't get as much headache because my capacity is getting bigger. Okay, so not a while back, a week ago, well, whenever I started reading the H.P. Lovecraft again, and that was thanks to Colin Wilson, who is amazing, from Parasites, not Parasite, Mind Parasites. The from the Shadow of Time, and the paragraph that I'm about to read is in reference to something else. If you've read the story, you would know what it's about. But as soon as I read this part of the story, which is fairly early on, page 316, so I think it's about 10 or 15 pages into the story, I read it over again, and then I wrote it down. I've read it many times since. Because it sort of seems to be what I'm going through right now. I mean, it's just, well, I'll read it, and then, but it's very powerful to me. It's again from H.P. Lovecraft's Shadow of Time, Shadow Out of Time, and we'll just read it what it says. Okay. So the essence was always the same. A person of keen thoughtfulness, seized with a strange secondary life, and leading, for a greater lesser period, an utterly alien existence, typified by vocal and bodily awkwardness. And later, by a wholesale acquisition of scientific, historic, artistic, and anthropological knowledge, an acquisition carried on with feverish zest and with a wholly abnormal absorptive power. Then, a sudden return of the rightful consciousness, intermittently plagued ever after with vague, unplaceable dreams, suggesting fragments of some hideous memory elaborately blotted out. So, for me, what that means, sorry, I did something with on here. I'm just going to go. I know we all do it from birth. We go along, right? We're mimickers. I think I mentioned that earlier. We mimic other people. But there are parts of me that have not been there since I was 8 or 9 or 10. Is this part where I start talking now? I guess it is. It's an hour and 24 minutes, so it's 12:15. I can't remember the exact details, but it's something to do with my mom and my grandma and my aunt. Linda asked me a question, or I said something, and my aunt Linda says, "Well, that wasn't a very nice thing to say." I was like, I had a, I've got a straight face, right? I can, so I'm good at telling sarcasm because the 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 flat look. um, I had a very much fascination with numbers. It was funny. They said visualization of counting sheep. I'd count fractions. I would think of like a number, like a large number or something like that. Well, sort of like 1,000. So like, wait, 1,000, 2 1,000. Well, that's 1,500. 3 1,000. Well, that's 3 1,000. 4 1,000. 2 500. 1 250. And so on and so forth. Played games with cards a lot. Made up games. Watched a lot of TV when I was younger. Like Sapiens Sign. Never had more than like say one good friend at a time. Actually, it was interesting in grades 7. So in grade 5 and 6, I must have not had really. Well, I think there was some. Grade 7, beginning of the school year, first day of class. There was 2 of us at the very end who didn't have locker partners. And I was like me and Roger, and he turned out to live on the same street as me, and because we walked home, and I think he just moved there like the previous summer, maybe, or something like that, and maybe that's why we didn't see each other. I'm not sure because we just moved. Well, we lived now in Courtney for about a year or so. But we became like instant friends, and we were friends all year. I remember in grade, like there was a separate class and like a separate room, so they off the main class, and him and I would like go in there, or like, yeah, I was not sure why I'm recalling that, but well, hour and 30 minutes. 12:20 night. I was hoping to talk more. More about the sort of, I guess. So I've been watching a lot of videos to do with autism and people with a lot of them are like people from Australia. That's interesting. One is the Orion, the autistic guy, and he's very good at the humor part of it and doing like the opposite sort of thing. Yeah, Ryan, the autistic guy, he's just shit. Yeah. And then there's also, I think, another good channel, again, Aussie, is Autism on the Inside. And what I'm discovering and finding out is that people who are recognizing that they're autistic and that it's a good thing, and that you have to unmask and stop the couple housing and stop the simulation. Excuse me. So I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. Not sure where I'm going to go from here. Have all these great ideas. I'm glad I made this video. I guess it could have turned out a lot better. I could have had a lot more energy. But it is 12:23 at night. So we're on the 18th. We hit the 40% mark of winter. So it's interesting. I definitely changed my routine. We like routine. We like doing things the same all the time, well, most of the time. Changing up a little bit. Routine and newness, though, right? So I know, awkward gaps, awkward silences. Not really awkward silence. So how do I want to finish, right? How should I finish this? Okay, we'll go back to the beginning, I guess. The what the original title, Homo Sapiens, is thinking man. And then I think I put in the description. I have to change it probably tomorrow. I'm gonna go to sleep, wake up whenever. I don't know. De-evolution with a bracket and of the D, right? Because it could be evolution as well. And I put the de-evolution of the way of the. I put intensity and authenticity. Right. So authenticity is being truthful, being who you are, allowing myself. Well, awakening. I think what I read about awakening, I saw a video earlier. Like it was one of those videos, like only 0.11. If you've seen this, you're in the 0.11% sort of thing. And yeah, that was interesting. Like, I was in grade 7, and those standardized tests or something like that. Like, and you're in the percentile. It's like I think for math, I was like in the 99 percentile, and like spelling 92 percentile, and vocabulary. But then for like comprehensive, that's it. I had no comprehend. I would read something and have no comprehension of it. And that was the problem I had when I went to college as well, is that I couldn't formulate creative thought. was I going with that? Right, that was like the giftedness and the 2E, right? But highly into seeing has to do with emotion as well, emotional IQ, and having high. Am I looking at the camera? Hello, camera. So I think I'm going to finish it up pretty soon. So music, where does music come involved with my life? When I listen to music, well, usually now I put the headphones on all the time, like that, younger as well. It's definitely the auditory, but it seems to it become well, like I said earlier, I was listening to music earlier this morning, and this was just the way I was listening to music, and the way I was moving my body, and the way I was focusing and intent, right? Because when I'm working, and especially that's why I like listening to music when I'm not working, but then I'm focusing on the video for more input or something like that. But I can listen to a song over and over again, and it'll be the same. But then I can listen to it that one time, and it'll be different. I guess. And then I listen to mashups as well, and mashups are a couple different. Mashups are where, well, but you're playing two songs usually at the same time, and you can have like a mashup where you have music of one song and lyrics of another song, and it's sort of like, and you know both songs, and and at first you're saying, and then you get hang to it, and then yeah, it's one of those hard to explain things, but well, actually, I have explained it in the past where if I ever am going to experience an out of body experience, it's gonna be music related. It's gonna be yeah. And then so go with the autobiographical memory, which is AM, right? And you have like the two spectrums, right? And that's why they refer autism spectrum, is because going back to the brain. See, this is I don't think I've mentioned this before. See, I knew I could get close to 2 hours if I wanted to. Allistic, so not autistic, brains that they develop roughly about the same, right? But autistic brains, okay, and again, this is two allistic brains. They're fairly close together, sort of thing. But two autistic brains, not necessarily. So So I mean, pictures. I mean, like, and the '70s, like going through school and stuff like that. Uh, it was like probably like 1 in 30 or 1 in 100 or something like that. So chances are you're the only person in your class that was um, autistic or neurodiverse or different sort of thing. And even if you did find somebody who was also neurodiverse or autistic as well as you, sort of thing. Well, for one thing, autism is of the self, of oneself. Um, so we like to be left alone. We like to. That's why I'm not even gonna go there. That's something completely different. That I'm one of those negative aspects that's misunderstood, similar to the theory of mind, I guess. Um, where was I going with it now? Yeah, that even that we like to be, that we are loners. We preoccupy ourselves, and we don't like to be disturbed at times. But at other times, we can be forward as hell. Coughing a lot. Sorry. Must past my bedtime. Yeah. So even if you did meet somebody else who was autistic, sort of thing, and you, right, is well, it's the social aspect, right? So you don't want to be social with anybody, including somebody. But we do. Like, for me personally, when I was 23 and a half years old in early 1990, January 1990, I moved to Vancouver, and I was all by myself, living in a big city. Well, there's about 1.5 million, 2 million people at the time. It's probably more like 3 or 4 million now. But I lived there for 5 years and probably did a lot of assimilation. I've told this story before, so I'm going to tell it again. I'm not sure where it's going, but it's an example, probably a classic example of being autistic. I was at a house party in Brockler's I think it was grade 12. I think it was it was after Roger moved away, and was hanging out with Dan, and I was quite hanging out with the people I would start hanging out with in the end of grade 12. But I remember going to this house party, and not really, well, again, we're not social people. So I went and I found like a quiet spot in the house, or wherever the room sort of was. It was in the living room or something. Maybe there was like everybody's in the kitchen or something. But I found this spot, and I like to listen to music. Probably that's why I like to listen in music and stuff like that, because, well, we listen a lot because we don't talk. We don't communicate. But anyway, so I found this, and what happened is, I get the curiosity, it was like, or not really the sympathy, but sort of like, they're like, oh, you're all there by yourself. How's it going? Sort of thing. So some girl, would come over and talk to me, sort of thing. And then, well, then somebody else would see that person talking to me, and then they would come, and then I would still be partially involved. And then all of a sudden, you got like 5 or 6 people, and then next thing I know, sort of like, I instantly shut down, quiet, and I withdraw. Yeah. Not sure why I relate that story, what it means, sort of thing. Okay. Right. Okay. So we're gonna finish this now. This is how we're gonna end it. Okay. What is a possibility of happening, sort of thing, is that first instance of autism was back in the 40s. 40s to be 40s, mid 40s, the dropping of seems to be a critical time, sort of thing. Are we? See, I think we are reacquiring our senses, our abilities. Maybe, I don't know. It's the last few, since the agriculture period in the last few thousand years. It seems that everybody doing everything the same way, sort of thing, and the industrial and mechanism, sort of thing. That's all fine and dandy. Um, but it needs to stop. It needs to. We need to need to change it somehow. And I think we're in a good path. I think we're becoming more accepting of everyone, and blended. So if how am I going to word this? Hi, spider. There's a spider up there. Our continuing mission. Sorry. Smile. Smile is space migration, intelligence, life extension squared. We're Homo sapiens. We need to start thinking. It has to be truthful thinking. We have to work together, not against each other. We need to evolve, right? And it seems like we're de-evolving. It seems like we're going the route of idiocracy. But how's that working for us? Right? I mean, again, I go back to me, and I should be dead because of all these apparent deficiencies. I'm left-handed. I am twice exceptional, which means I am gifted, but have deficiencies. So so I'm autistic. But that's a good thing because I think outside the box, right? I think outside the box. I think. But then I find these other things, such as the aphantasia and the severe SDAM, severe deficiency autobiographical memory. And is that something that I've been trying to work on memory recall, and is memory recall something that's being repressed in me? Sort of like Well, let's not go there. Or is it just because it's we only use 5% of the brain? Because we use all our brain, we'd be seeing everything in everything, because every cell, right? I learned this today that one cell grows larger until it splits into two cells. And then I would assume that two cells was split into 4 cells and 8 cells, and just keep on going. And now I've completely lost my track on that. I read, it was something that I've been doing a lot. I want to hit the 2 hour mark. Ha ha. If I can make it that long. Okay, so there was a major study done in Europe or something like that, to do with left-handedness and right-handedness, and I gotta find it. It was it had to do with I don't want to say anomalies. I thought the right word is almost like creation or something. It's but it only happened in a few instances. In every instance that occurred, it was due to the person being left-handed, not right-handed. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it possibly over time we're in. If there's only one person out of 100 that is doing something different or trying to be unique, or and the other 99, how am I trying to say this? As that number gets bigger and bigger, and they not really interbreed, but sort of interbreeding, but as it becomes more and more acceptable, and there's more and more people, so say all of a sudden now, instead of one person on 100, they have a different thought. There's like 23 people in that 100, but there are 23 different thoughts, and then 77 people, right? So that's where it becomes complex, but it needs to be that way. It needs to be that way. It will just become that way. But then there's so much more of it. I remember seeing a video. Someone had multiple sclerosis. I think she was in the process of awakening, and her videos are interesting. She's a very fascinating person. And where was I going with it? And I'm not sure. It's something, because what I think was the first video was called Invisibility. I'm not as sure if it's to do with the fact that she has multiple sclerosis and she has a disability, so or something to do with the fact that she can see what other people can't see, or something. The liminal, but the subliminal. I know there's something, but the liminal place. Seeing something that's not there. That's something that's right. Oh, I haven't even touched on. Okay. I want to explore the inner mind, but if I can't visualize, if I can't see anything, and I don't remember it in my dreams, it kind of makes. But I know it's possible. I know it's there. And I think the reason why I've sort of not pressed it, but why I'm not ready for it. It's not needed. I don't. Yeah. Was like yes. Once I know I like once I go into the inner world is from what I've been reading, it's a real world. Like it's more real than the outer world. I'm also starting to see videos regarding like non-duality and awakening regarding that you and I we're the same. We're all like right. And then like reading about awakening about how you're in this, I guess, flow state, right? Well, I mean, I've already sort of like taken like an initial step. So, like, I don't really worry, but yet I do worry. I don't. Is still in the planning stages, processes early, not early, but ongoing, probably the same as my life. But it's still, I think it's still like it's all over the place sort of thing. Like I'm still, it's that definite mind blind, right? Not being able to visualize going into my right because it's like if you go into the inner world and like essentially go there like from the moment you sort of sleep and you're not really sleeping but your body's still getting rest, then you're almost like fully alive 24 hours a day, and that would be yeah, that's yeah, that could be again like I thought I was, I guess, meant to be a shaman, like a healer, but the explorer makes more sense, right? Like exploring, well, the out of the world as well. Like I'm exploring like common knowledge. I'm exploring, well, following my interests, like Formula One, space, music. Yep. Let's finish it off. How shall we finish off? I'm definitely gonna make more videos. This is more of a like a eureka, like let's get this out into the world sort of thing. Probably my next few videos, like maybe there'll be like shorter time. Well, obviously, not continuing like videos like this. This was yeah. 12:51. Oh my God, almost 1 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, 1:59:42. So like that, there's an end screen button. How long it's going to process it? Who knows? Yeah. stay tuned, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.